Everybody, good evening. Can we all, thank you very much, I appreciate it. We'll call this meeting to order. City Attorney, do we have anything to report?
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Nothing to report out of closed session.
Thank you. Before we start anything, I'd like to read a statement. Please be patient. It was hard. So I will try and do it with a very strong voice. So it's with a heavy heart that we speak tonight, knowing this is the first City Council meeting without our beloved Mayor, Fred D. Thomas, who passed away nearly a week ago. All of us deeply feel Fred's absence, not only as a leader, but also as a friend, mentor, and source of inspiration to so many in our community. Tonight, we want to honor Fred by sharing his story, one that is filled with compassion, service, and a lifelong commitment to making a difference. Long before he was elected mayor in 2022 and re-elected this past November, Fred dedicated decades to improving the lives of others and building a better community. His service on the board of the Boys and Girls Club of Moorpark and Simi Valley spanned 20 years, including 4 as board president, reflecting his unwavering support for our youth and their futures. He was also a champion for public safety, dedicating himself to efforts that made our city safer. He played pivotal roles with the Simi Valley Gang Task Force, the Simi Valley Crime Prevention Task Force, and the Simi Valley Police Foundation, where he served as president for 3 years. Fred's commitment to protecting our community and fostering opportunities for young people earned him numerous accolades, including the Simi Valley Community Foundation Humanitarian Award, the Kiki Camarena Award, and the Boys and Girls Club Champion of Youth Award. Beyond his remarkable public service, Fred was also a successful entrepreneur with a creative mindset, fearless drive, and ability to turn ideas into successful realities. He started as a graphic designer and later became a partner in a real estate marketing firm. In 1992, he launched a national direct mail marketing company and owned a commercial printing business. I had the privilege of working with Fred for many years, as well as my fellow council members, and he was so much more than a colleague. He was a source of joy, the kind of person who could make you laugh even in the most serious moments, and a leader whose vision and dedication inspired all of us to strive for more. Fred was a giant, not just in stature, but in heart. He had a gentle nature, boundless compassion, and a sense of humor that could brighten even the darkest days. Fred's legacy was marked by humility, care for others, integrity in leadership, and unwavering dedication to public service. And his impact extended far beyond Simi Valley. The outpouring of condolences and support from residents, elected officials, nonprofits, community leaders, and local businesses is a testament to his profound influence on everyone he touched. To Fred's family, his daughters Brandy and Kristen, his grandchildren Shane and Summer, his partner Ashley, please know you are in our hearts and prayers. We grieve with you and honor the incredible man Fred was. As we close tonight's meeting, we will adjourn in honor of Mayor Fred D. Thomas. His legacy of service, leadership, and kindness will continue to guide us, and his vision for Simi Valley will remain a source of inspiration for all of us. No information on services is currently available, but the city will share the updates with any information as soon as we receive them. Thank you all for taking that minute. Did anyone else have any comments they want to make? Okay, thank you. That was hard, but thank you all for helping us all get through this together. That's what Simi Valley does. So we will now do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to pick on my neighbor, Mark. Mark Luker, will you please come lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mark. Lucy, may we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Rhodes,
Here.
Councilmember Litzter,
Here.
Councilmember Judge,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh.
Here. Do we have any items for agenda review?
We do not.
We do not. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move that all resolutions and ordinances presented tonight be read in title only and all further reading be waived.
Second.
Call the vote.
The motion passes unanimously.
If any member of the city council may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should declare so at this time. Seeing none, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh and members of the City Council, the first item on the agenda is item 2, public statements on appointments, special presentations, and informational reports. We have no public speakers for this item this evening. Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 3A1, appointment of Simi Valley Council on Aging Executive Board members, and Assistant City Manager Luis Garibay is here to present this item.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh and council members. Tonight for your consideration is the appointment of 4 positions to the Council on Aging Executive Board. The positions will become vacant on January 31st, 2025. The Executive Board is the group that runs the COA meetings, advises the City Council on issues impacting seniors, and conducts fundraising activities to support senior programs within the community. Recruitment to fill these positions began September 18th, 2024, and concluded on November 15th, 2024. There were 24 applications submitted and considered by the COA membership. The COA conducted an election at its January 13th, 2025 meeting and is recommending 4 nominees for appointment to the Executive Board with terms commencing on February 1st, 2025 and concluding on January 31st, 2027. The 4 nominees are Gloria Bowman, Janice Del Santo, Madhulika Garg, and Betty King, all 4 who are here tonight. It is recommended that the City Council approve and the Mayor Pro Tem appoint the 4 applicants or applicant nominations to the Council on Aging Executive Board. This concludes the report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And while they're coming forward, I would just love to comment that Councilmember Judge and I were there as they were voting, selecting these 4 amazing people. There were quite a few outstanding candidates, and I want to commend those who maybe weren't appointed and hope they're still involved, but these 4 women truly have stellar backgrounds, and they will be a wonderful support, wonderful contribution to the Council on Aging.
And I will move that the City Council accept and the Mayor Pro Tem appoint these 4 to the position.
Second.
Please vote yes for me. Thank you. Congratulations, ladies. We have 4 women up here. Whoa, I like that. Doesn't happen very often. Thank you all for volunteering and for being selected. Simi Valley has great volunteers, and I know you will all just add to the pool for that. So thank you very much.
The motion passes unanimously.
Need to take a picture, though.
Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 4, public statements. Since there are no public hearings under agenda item 5 this evening, agenda items 4 and 6 are combined, and the council will hear all public statements under agenda item 4. Agenda item 4 and 6 are the times allotted for public statements on all items other than public hearings, appointments, and informational reports. Speakers will be called on in the order in which their card was submitted to speak for this public statements item 4 for a period of no more than 3 minutes each. Each person addressing the City Council are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh, unless you have any comments, we can begin public statements.
Please begin. Thank you.
I will be calling 3 speakers at a time. Michael Shaw, Michael Radka, and Corey Frum.
She's calling 3 at a time, but you're welcome to seat until you're, just so you know your order. It wasn't clear. So thank you, though, for being ready to go.
And a reminder that there are 3 minutes. The green light goes on, the yellow light comes on at 30 seconds, and then the red light is when we cut you off. So go ahead, Mike, thank you.
All right. Good evening. I'm Michael Shaw of Simi Valley, Mayor Pro Tem. Hello, Council. The best part of running for mayor was getting to be friends with Fred. He was a gracious man, a kind man, and I was fortunate to share what time I did with him. So everything I had to say is, you all already know it. So we'll miss him.
I wanted to express my condolences to all of you for the passing of Mayor Fred. My heart and prayer goes out to truly the City Council and to the citizens of Simi Valley. My name is Michael Radka. I'm a resident of West Simi Valley, and I live near the corner of Royal and Madera. During the recent wind event, we experienced having our electricity turn off 50% of the wind event time. Rather than use the funds to improve the condition of our electrical infrastructure, it seems that Southern California Edison has decided to preemptively turn off power to thousands of residents in a guise to safeguard citizens and property, when in reality, it seems to me, they just seem to want to reduce their liability. Large area power shutoffs are not a short-term or long-term solution to reducing fire risk in our area. Public safety is sharply reduced in traffic intersections and within neighborhoods when lights are out. This situation is quickly elevating to a point that could result in political risk. That for any politician that doesn't take action or greatly limit or eliminate power shutoffs and actively reduce fire risk. With that in mind, I'd like to propose a couple things to the council. One, I strongly encourage the City Council to engage directly with Southern California Edison to have Edison produce an alternate plan to power shutoffs in our community and to potentially deliver that plan within a short window, maybe a year. Second, I urge the city to actively take measures to greatly mitigate our fire risk in open chaparral areas within the boundaries of Simi Valley. And three, for as long as power shutoffs continue, Edison's, they try to send folks into the field and they sit in hotels and allow citizens to come meet with them. I encourage all of you to join them and meet with them and actually hear what citizens are experiencing in the moment that it's happening, because it is a very significant life disruption. So again, I'm sorry to bring this to your attention during this time. It is such a sad time to have someone like Fred pass away, and my condolences to all of you, and thank you for your time.
Corey Fromm.
Hello, I'm Corey Fromm. Due to a non-compliance under the Ralph M. Brown Act, I'm requesting that the public hearing held on January 23rd, 2025, regarding project title case number PDS 20230004 be appealed. This request for appeal of administrative decision is made on the specific grounds that the staff report, which includes the NOE, the Notice of Exemption, Attachment A, stating the project is exempt from CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, was not accessible online for review 72 hours prior to the public hearing held on January 23rd, 2025, as indicated in the public hearing notice, which was mailed to the homeowners. The staff report was not available online when the link provided was clicked. When clicked, the website link provided read, "Page not found." Localities must they need to be cognizant of posting each distinct CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, related decision discussed at public meetings on public agendas, so as to give adequate opportunity for public participation as required under the Ralph M. Brown Act, and to avoid project risk from noncompliances. It is my understanding that 2 city council members can request this appeal. Now, given that the Planning Commission will not be convened until after the expiration of the 10-day appeal period, I'm requesting that the appeal is filed on or before February 3rd, 2025. At the public hearing, I said perhaps it could be explained why the City of Simi Valley Department of Environmental Services Administrative Action Staff Report, case number PDS 20230004, Administrative Action dated January 23rd, 2025, Attachment A, Notice of Exemption, has already been signed in advance by the Associate Planner approving the project I just mentioned prior to this public testimony portion of this public hearing today, January 23rd, 2025, unquote. Thank you.
Sir, can I ask you for a clarification?
What, sorry?
What is you mentioned the PDS, what is the project title?
Monterey Community Gating.
Thank you.
The next 3 speakers, Ivana Christman, Mark Luker, and John Lapper.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Pro Tem. My name is Ivana Christman, and I live in Simi. I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the recent passing of our beloved Mayor Fred Thomas. His dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to our city have left a permanent mark on all of us. He truly embodied what it means to serve with heart, integrity, and he will be deeply missed. I want to add that in moments like these, it's important to reflect how lucky we are to have such capable and dedicated city council. Any one of you would make an outstanding mayor, and if you decide to go that route. On a different note, I would like to invite you all to join our Rotary Club of Simi Valley SOG Drive, benefiting the Samaritan Center this Saturday, February 1st, at the Junkyard starting at 6 p.m. For every 5 pairs of warm adult socks donated, you'll receive a raffle ticket for a chance to win some great prizes. You will not be obligated to buy any food or drinks, and we can come together, listen to a live band, enjoy while we together make this cause wonderful. Let's work together to make a difference for those who are in need this winter. I'm so sorry, this affected me way worse than what I thought it would. Thank you all for everything that you do in our community, and I hope to see you Saturday. Thank you.
Your Majesty, council members, President Jimmy Carter, a decorated Navy veteran, passed away. As per tradition, American flags should be at half-mast for 30 days. We all know why it was prematurely ordered to be raised on Inauguration Day. Simi Valley Parks and Recs raised the flag at Veterans Plaza 3 days before that on a Friday. The only reason I can think of is that they did not want to pay one of their many, many part-time workers to go out on Martin Luther King Day to do it. But then again, this is the same Parks and Recs board that charged veterans holiday rates to play golf at Simi Hills on Veterans Day. When I call the city's answer is, oh, they're a separate entity. They don't answer to us. Apparently, they don't answer to anybody. When I call down there, the same answer I got last time as this time is, oh, we didn't even think about it. We forgot all about it. But you know what they never forget? They never forget on Veterans Day to show up at Veterans Park and get their picture taken with the vets. So apparently, if there's no publicity in it, the Parks and Recs veterans are just an afterthought. So maybe it's time for the city to keep an eye on them a little closer. Or this is also the same Parks and Recs that apparently sets their own compensation at $100 per meeting, up to 5 meetings a month for $500. And who sets those meetings? They set those meetings. And nobody is above them. They don't answer to anybody. So maybe it's time to rethink how they're appointed and maybe do it on a 100% voluntary basis for just the good of the community. And if people think, well, we can't get people to do it for free, let me be the first to volunteer to do it for free, and I promise you I will not forget our veterans. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem D.D. Kavanaugh and City Council members and city staff. John Lapper of Simi Valley. First, I must offer my sincere condolences to Mayor Fred Thomas's family. The news of Fred's passing was a real shocker. Fred was always available and fair in our conversations. While it just doesn't seem appropriate to discuss a replacement so soon, I know that there are policies and protocols that must be adhered to. I know that there are 2 basic choices to replace a mayoral vacancy, either from the current city council or a member from the community through a nomination process and then vote of the city council. The second method would be by a special election. Since the mayor is elected separately by the voters, that would certainly be the preferred method as the community would decide. I know there is a cost to the city for a special election, and I am sure the city council will weigh that heavily in their decision for appointment or election. If the replacement is from the council, I would highly recommend either D.D. Kavanaugh or Elaine Litster. Both have a significant council experience and were recently re-elected without opposition, showing the community's trust and faith in their service. If they were to go to the community, I would love to see our council use this opportunity to find a truly nonpartisan candidate for mayor or ultimately council person if it comes to that. There will be time for these discussions to take place. I'd also like to thank City Councilwoman Elaine Litster tonight. At your last council meeting, I submitted a public statement about how dangerous our intersections when the traffic lights were out during to SCE power shutoffs. Simply reciting the 4-way stop sign rule to the community when a traffic light is out is not enough. Negotiating a dark intersection with 8 through lanes and 6 left turn lanes is no easy task. Councilwoman Litster was the only council person to respond to me. She even made sure it was addressed at the last council meeting. I encourage our city manager to put together a staff report outlining options, costs, liability, grants, power backup, traffic control, flashers, stop signs, assistance from SCE, and report back to the council and public. It's been 4 years and the city has done nothing, not even at key intersections. We don't need to wait for a major accident in front of our schools or at night at a dark intersection to force our city to act. The community wants and deserves this protection no matter the cost. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers, Robert Clarizio, Jill Abla, and Jackson Lips.
Is there somebody before me?
No.
There's a green light. Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Robert Clarizio. And my condolences to Fred's family and to all of you. I'm sorry for your loss. I just lost my mother. My father and I took care of her solely till her death this year, just about a month ago. And it was about a year. And it was an amazing experience I had with my father. And I love him for that because it taught me something that that's right in front of all of us. Something so simple, that we're all human. We make mistakes, we breathe and live and do the best we can until we die. Most of us, we won't even know when that day comes. Or we might not be able to know when it is that someone we care about is going to pass. Then when that happens and you take care of someone like my mother, who I imagine was a lot like Fred, who I got to know, running for mayor. And then you have to think about he's part of us and what that person would have wanted if he would have kept going. And I will tell you, in a short time, I learned two things about Fred. One, I need to be standing on top of something anytime I'm next to him because he's really tall. But the other was, it wasn't his idea to run for mayor. But when he made it his, he took full responsibility. And he definitely would have wanted to see the city put first an election. The position of mayor is an election. It's the devil's advocate in between a council. So an elected member by the council, there's no advocate for the people. There's no adversity. There's no growth. So I feel the fairest thing to do is to have a re-election, the democratic thing to do. Thank you.
Jill Abela.
Good evening. My name is Jackson Lips. I live here in Simi Valley. My condolences to Fred's family and friends, and sending a lot of love to all of you affected by it. I'm one of the owners of Cork and Batter, and we are opening soon, and I'm just thankful for this city. I'm thankful to be a part of. I'm thankful to be welcomed. I'm thankful for all of you up there and all the help that's given from this community. I'm really excited to share this with you. As I got to know Fred, he was excited for this place, for this city, and it means a lot to come here at this time and as he passed, which is so unfortunate, we're opening, and it's just kind of a dedication to him as well. And I just look really forward to being a part of this community and sharing everything we've done with you guys. So thank you.
Good evening, City Council. My condolences on our loss of our wonderful mayor, Mayor Fred Thomas. It has been a difficult week. Again, my name is Jill Abela. I serve on the board of directors of the Boys and Girls Club here in town. And as you know, Fred was involved with the Boys and Girls Club for a very long time is very near and dear to his heart. And I think about him every day as I go about volunteering for the Boys and Girls Club. So it's a difficult time, and I know you're going through a difficult time as well as we deal with the loss of Fred, and my condolences to all of you and his family as well. In that spirit, two things. One is as you address the vacancy, I think an appointment of an existing city council member is appropriate at this time. You're all wonderfully qualified, and I think all of you, any of you, would do a terrific job. But I also, if we hadn't lost Fred, I was planning on being here to announce that the Boys and Girls Club Auction Gala is our largest fundraising event of the year. It is going to be on April 5th. Your announcements should be arriving soon. And we'll be thinking about Fred at the auction gala on April 5th. So I hope that you can join us, and I invite the community to come out in support of the Boys and Girls Club that Fred loves so dearly. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
The last speaker is Edgardo Rivas Frati.
Good afternoon, City Council. Mr. Ford, I see you. It's the first time I ever said anything to you, Mr. Rhodes, and I can't pronounce your last name now. Okay, thank you. The last meeting that I left a strong message to you guys about the cartels being in Simi Valley. The police department, they don't want to assist me. I've been told, I don't know if the orders come from Mr. Ford or Mr. Argabrad. I know it doesn't come from Mr. Rhodes, that I know for a fact, or Judge, Mr. Judge. It doesn't come from them. But I've been told they're not going to send no police officers to my address. I'm sorry, my mouth's all dry because I take medication. I've been told that. I want to know if those rules come from Mr. Ford, Ms. Lester, or the city manager. I don't even know her at all. And I need to know and investigate that because this process is going through court. The police department, I'm doing their job. I don't get paid to do their job. Like I told you last meeting, I'm 5 inches away from the people, the cartels, the drugs, and the smuggling of people. I have seen myself, I have seen personally myself, people being deported, not deported, to different parts of the United States and smuggling them from California by the border. For 6 months, well, ever since, let me get this screen, I get it out of my heart. But since 6, 7 years since this gentleman took over, the chief of police, I've had nothing but problems. My dog was poisoned at Meadow Woods Apartments. He didn't do nothing. The police department just ignored me and walked away from me. I've been told by Mr. Gonzalez that I ran, I think you know this, Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Judge, that I run my doctor's office. By Gonzalez, Tecada, and his partner. Look, I'm a Vietnam veteran, Salvadorian veteran. I'm not here to sell you drugs. I'm using you as an example because I don't do that. But when it gets personal to me, and I know something's wrong, I fight and I don't use profanity. But I want to come in next meeting, Mr. Rhodes. I didn't write you or call you at all. Neither I didn't bother Mr. Judge also. But I have to get very deep with the chief of police and Mr. Ford and the city manager. I had a great time with Mr. Levitt. I changed a lot with the homeless with Mr. Levitt. And I'm French American also, and Spanish. Thank you very much. I'll be back next meeting. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Judge, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh, that was the last speaker.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is item 4A, City Council comments regarding public statements.
Does anyone have any comments that they'd like to speak to? Mr. Litzer, or Mr. Litzer?
Why, thank you.
I'm
No, we're
sorry,
not
Greg.
related.
Greg, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Well, Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. On behalf of us, thank you to everyone who came out and spoke about Fred. As pointed out by some of our speakers, the business of the city still has to go on while we grieve. So for all the people who came and spoke and your individual concerns, they're going to be addressed. I'm not going to think about them until tomorrow, though. And I'm glad you brought them to our attention, and we're going to do what we need to do to take care of the city, just like Fred would have liked us to do. We have big decisions to make as a council, and I'm sorry, I forget who said it so eloquently, but Fred would want what's in the best interest of the city, and you need to know and understand that's exactly what we're going to do. So thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Councilmember Litzer.
That's all right. You can call me Councilmember Rhodes. Ditto to what Councilmember Rhodes just said. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the love of our wonderful mayor. There were several items that were intermixed that are important. I do want to speak to your thoughts about the mayor in just a minute, but I want to first just ask our attorney, who's sitting next to me. One gentleman raised the question about whether there was enough time posting the issue with with Planning Commission and I'm sorry, it is the Montera Community Gateway, whatever. Was there adequate would you address that, please?
Sure. So I checked with staff, and we didn't receive any complaints that that staff report was not available. It was an administrative hearing. It wasn't at the Planning Commission. So if it was not available, staff was not aware of that. But there is an email was sent to council earlier today related to the possible request for an appeal. And so there is information available. The last day to appeal for the city council would be February 3rd. And Stratus Peros is here. He can answer some specific questions about that particular project. But staff was not aware that the staff report in question was not available to the public.
Okay. And I guess that would, if we wanted further discussion, is that a 10B item or 9B or?
If the council members wish to appeal that item, there's just two council members that would have to sign on to that. It's not on the agenda tonight, so it wouldn't be something that you guys.
So it could be something we could talk about afterwards independently with you, or?
You would just have to get another council member that would want to do it. I don't know if.
And I haven't decided. I guess I want to do more research, but maybe you could weigh in.
I guess your question is, can you talk to the city manager generally outside of this? And I think that the answer is yes. February 3rd is the date to appeal it. It's not an agendized item for us to discuss tonight.
Got it.
But you can talk to the city manager about it.
Okay, fine, thank you. I do want to get to Fred in just a minute. I want to say, Ivana, thank you for being here and having your sock fundraiser on this weekend. I did have the joy of doing the homeless count this week. And one of the items that they enjoyed the most were socks, and I ran out halfway through, and I felt guilty that I didn't have more socks to hand out. So just saying right now, it's a worthy, anyway, what you're doing is wonderful. I would like, if you will bear with me, I do want to just chat about my experience with Fred, and since this is, I feel like this is the time to comment, if that's all right, just in answer to what you're saying. I wrote a letter to the editor because I was trying to, and I don't care if it's posted or not, but I wanted to share those thoughts with you because it was my interactions with this great man, and I'd like to just share that with you right now, if that's all right. Dear editor, the city mourns the passing of our mayor, Fred Thomas. This has been a time of reflection for so many, and I believe everyone who knew or met Fred felt he was their friend and cared about them. I have been reflecting on some of my observations as I watched him up close as he served as our mayor. Fred Thomas was a thoughtful, engaged mayor who exemplified civility to our city and at our city council meetings. He was willing to listen to all sides of an issue. He was open to being educated and formed his decisions after thoughtful listening and inquiries. Those who disagreed with him would often become friends, or at the very least, would arrive at a position of mutual respect. Mayor Thomas made sure everyone on the dais was heard. Fred championed goal setting and accountability. Under his direction, Fred scheduled council planning meetings, wanting the council to set goals together and bring a cohesive vision for our city. He was specifically concerned about the city's responsiveness to public works issues. He wanted problems addressed in a timely fashion. He wanted to create a culture of pride in service and a system of transparent accountability. Fred was extremely generous. On one occasion, a nonprofit representative came to the council meeting to accept a grant from the city. They expressed appreciation, but shared that the amount received was not enough to make the program happen. I watched quietly as Fred privately spoke with the recipient afterwards and made sure their need was met with his personal funds. A week ago, Fred and I spoke at length. Fred offered personal encouragement to me and spoke about his gratitude for having lived a full, beautiful life. As a city, we owe a special thank you to his dear family that shared him with us. Fred, we love you. Thank you. Just needed to share that with you right now. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Judge?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just want to thank everybody that came out and spoke kindly to Fred. That's a big deal. Try to do this without losing it. He was a great mayor and he was a good friend, so I appreciate all the comments and all the emails and texts I've been getting. Thank you very much. A couple of the issues I heard during the public comments, I'm going to have another conversation with staff over at the Park District about the veterans thing. We did that before. I remember you came up to me at Veterans Day. So I'll follow up on that a little bit. Like I said, I'll try, but I can't. They're a separate entity. We can't force them to do anything, but we'll talk to them.
A group that's answerable to no one should be trusted by no one. They need some supervision.
On our fire safety issues in this city are, and yes, you can sit here and say second to none because they're great. Our fire district in Ventura County does a great job, especially on our vacant areas that have to have weed abatement and stuff like that. So I tell citizens whenever they have a problem, if they see a thing in their neighborhood where people aren't taking care of their trees or something, give us a call. We have code enforcement that can go out. There's certain things the city can do. And if we can't do it, we can send the fire district over there to talk to them. So that's something that's obviously been on our minds now for the last 3 weeks. So that's a very important thing. But I think I'm pretty much online with the council here in saying our fire district is second to none in this state. And our water does work and our hydrants work. So this is not LA. And thank you all for coming out tonight for this. Thank you.
I also want to thank everybody for coming out. As I look out here, I see former council members, Williamson and Becerra. I see 3 planning commissioners, Chrisman, Lee, and Mann. I see our CEO of our chamber. I see business owners and waste management. That just goes to show you who Fred was. Fred was well-liked by everybody. And like some of you said, he would listen to you. You can have differing opinions, but he was respectful to each and every person he ever met. And I really respect that in a person, especially in a leader. So thank you all for all of your comments and condolences. Last week was especially difficult for all of us up here on the dais. Obviously, it was such a surprise, unexpected. And then some of us had to go on and fulfill some of his commitments or fill some of the commitments we already had. And we received condolences from the entire county League of Cities, from everywhere. And a couple of places that I visited, I was asked to do a moment of silence in memory of Fred. So that just goes to show you how far his reach went. And we all really will miss him and are all better people for having had him with us for that long. So thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 7, the consent calendar, and there are no resolutions for your consideration this evening.
Is there any conversation on the consent calendar?
I'm not going to pull anything, but I did want to bring to everyone's attention that one of the items that we are approving is the annual comprehensive financial report early, but I just wanted to commend staff for getting it early that we can review the draft. But I want to assure the public that I understand that the final audit is still outstanding. We will be getting that. There'll be a report that will be shared, but I just wanted to make sure that that was of knowledge. But happy to approve it today and happy to move approval.
Second.
Call for the vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh and members of the City Council, next on the agenda is item 9A. Discussion regarding mayoral vacancy, consideration of mayoral appointment, and evaluation of next steps. And City Manager Samantha Argabright will present this item.
I will do my best to get through this one. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh and members of the City Council. Sadly, as a result of the untimely passing of Mayor Fred D. Thomas on Tuesday, January 21st last week, the position of mayor is now vacant. Government Code Section 34902A provides specific direction regarding how to address a vacancy in the position of mayor and requires that City Council first attempt to appoint a person to the seat. It should be noted that the appointment can be made from the City Council or a member of the community. If the vacancy is not filled by appointment within the 60-day time frame, a special election must be held on the next established election date, not less than 114 days thereafter. Special election dates are typically March and November. Staff has contacted the Ventura County Elections Division, and the estimated cost to hold a citywide special election would be approximately $1.2 million. If the council fills the vacant position of mayor by appointing a current council member, the next step will be for the City Council to fill the vacancy that will be created on the City Council by either appointment or special election. Note that unlike the mayoral seat, there is no requirement that the council first attempt to fill a council seat by appointment. In the event the City Council chooses to fill a possible City Council vacancy via appointment, the council can implement a selection criteria to be used to consider candidates seeking to fill the vacancy. The criteria that was established in 2018 is included for the council's consideration in your staff report. There is no prescribed or mandatory selection criteria defined in state law. However, in order to seek elective office in the city of Simi Valley, a candidate must be a registered voter residing within the city limits. Hence, these qualifications should be maintained in the event that the selected candidate wishes to run for election to the appointed seat at the next election. Due to the city's transition from an at-large election system to a by-district election system and the requirement that council members reside in a particular geographic district within the city, if a vacancy is created by appointing an existing city council member to the position of mayor, the vacancy created would likely need to be filled by a resident from that corresponding district. The cost for a special election varies slightly by district, ranging from a low of nearly $283,000 in District 3 and up to nearly $338,000 in District 4, with Districts 1 and 2 falling in between those numbers. Since the city's incorporation in 1969, vacancies have occurred in a city council seat a total of 11 times. 2 occasions, the vacancy was filled by special election, and on 9 occasions, the vacancies were filled by appointment. The detailed history is available in the staff report. It is recommended that the City Council discuss the unscheduled vacancy of the position of Mayor Thomas and consider whether the City Council will make a mayoral appointment from the current City Council members or a member of the community, and then discuss next steps. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for questions, as is the City Attorney.
Thank you, City Manager Argabright. This is a very difficult thing, I think, for everybody. The discussion itself is going to be difficult. I did want to start out by saying that I respected Fred tremendously. As the current Mayor Pro Tem, I would be honored to follow in his steps. I think any of the four of us could do it and do a good job at it, but I would like to place myself in that area to save the city money in regards to an election. A special election would cost a lot of money. And as normally a current Mayor Pro Tem, that's what we do. We fill in for the mayor. So unfortunately, with his passing, we need to fill the seat quicker. And I would just like to place myself out there for that. So thank you. Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I was going to suggest that before we get to a who, that we sort of agree on a process to make sure that we're all thinking on the same page. And as described by City Manager, our process would be to try to appoint either from a group of the dais or from citizens at large. And if we cannot, then move to a special election. It is my feeling that it should be attempted in exactly that order. Let's try and fill the seat from the dais first. And if we cannot, then we'd be willing to open it up for nominations and then interviews for appointing from the public. And then we can deal with the corresponding vacancy of a district seat for council, depending on how that goes. Does that seem for us up here the process we want to pursue?
I agree with that process.
All right. So, and thank you for throwing your hat in the ring. I think all of us would be excellent at filling the seat, and all of us are trepidatious about what that means to say, oh, I'm being appointed mayor. And I tried to think not just now, but in some years into the future, and what is in the best interest of CIMI. And I'm going to offer you up some thoughts. I'm not claiming they are right thoughts, but I just offer them up. Every election cycle, the mayor plus 2 council people are up for election. That means roughly 60% of our dais is up for any election. If we appoint a city council person from districts 1 or 3, that means in the next election cycle, 4 would be up for election. 80% of our dais would be up for election. And I think that could be massively disruptive to the city, especially if we re-elect 4 new people all at the same time, that there would be very little continuity of service. It would be my thought process to try to appoint from 2 or 4, because we are then up in the next election cycle anyway, and it would be election as if, it would be our normal election, 2, 4, and the mayor are the next ones up. And so I offer that as a less disruptive option than selecting from 1 and 3, which puts us at a 4-person election.
Okay, Councilmember Judge.
I really don't want to talk about this, but I would be willing to put my hat in the ring also to be the mayor. It was my plan to run in 2 years for the seat, and Fred was aware of it. It wasn't a secret, so it was out there. And yeah, that's about all I want to say about that.
Councilmember Litzter.
I'd like to start by saying that many residents have asked what's going to happen this evening to me. And I've explained the various options: appointment from within, appointment from without, special election. But I think it's clear that appointment is what is suggested, that we do our best to appoint first, and then, but if we can't come to a decision on this dais, then we will go elsewhere. I will say that my sense, first of all, I'd like to speak to your comments, Councilmember Rhodes. Whether we are talking about 3 people, 4 people, 2 people, I think, I trust the city will make a good judgment of who those people should be. I expect there will be some continuity, maybe new faces. I don't know that that should be the reason to appoint. I think, in my mind, the reason should be the one that maybe would fill the spot now in the way that would keep us cohesive and going forward. I'd like to speak to the strength of each council member. I will tell you that when I'm asked, I always tell people, we have 4 strong, amazing council members, any one of which could be mayor, which I really believe that. They all offer different strengths. We all do. And I'm going to talk about each of them just a little bit. So just so those of you who don't know, just so you know how outstanding these people are around me, I'd like to talk about Mike Judge first. This man has been elected 4 times to the City Council. He served on the Ventura County Transportation Commission. He is currently the representative of the Council on Aging. It's a joy to work with him there. He's previously was with the Youth Council for a zillion years, Homeless Task Force. He's currently on the League of Cities Public Safety Committee. He's currently the president of the Elks Lodge. He's the current vice president of SCAG's Transportation Commission, which it represents the whole region. He kind of sits there quietly, but he does a lot for our city. I just want you to know that, and I appreciate that, Mike. I'd like to talk about the gentleman on the other end of the dais, Mr. Rocky Rhodes.
Not Litster.
Not Litster. And it's been a joy to work with him in a special committee as I'm trying to get this amphitheater built, but that's a whole nother issue. He's been elected 1 time. But boy, the fact that it's been 2 years has not stopped this man from doing amazing things. Yes, he serves on the Cultural Arts Commission. He has worked his way immediately onto SCAG's Community Economic and Human Development Committee, where he is now the vice chair, where in a few years, when the RENA numbers come up, he's going to be the man that's going to control that whole conversation and make it good for our city. So he's doing great things. He's also on the Clean Power Alliance Committee. He served as Rotary president. He's a leader. He does great things. I want to mention he's on the League of Cities Taxation Committee. Did I mention that? Among many other things. Let me talk a little bit about Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh in the middle. She has been elected 3 times to the City Council. And that was after serving 7 years on the Rancho Simi Parks and Recreation. If anyone knows different entities in this in the community, Ms. Kavanaugh does. She was a former president of the Rotary. She served as chair of the Ventura Economic Development Collaborative, which is basically the arm that tries to help small businesses and provide loans and economic support for all sorts of things throughout our community. She's involved with animal control. She's involved with leadership and helping young people become leaders. I could go on and on about her. Okay, I'm going to talk about myself. Why not? I don't want you to think that I'm not in this list. I was the past chair of Ventura. Okay, I've been elected 2 times, and that's after being appointed for 2 years. So I guess I've served 6 years on this council. I was past chair of the Ventura Council of Governments, which is the association of all the cities and the county together. I serve on their executive committee. Right now, we're trying to appoint a new director I serve on SCAG's Energy and Environment Committee. I serve with the League of Cities on their Environment Committee, which also includes hardening and emergency preparedness, and boy, was that a fun discussion this weekend, but I digress. I have the joy of serving on the Youth Council, the Council on Aging. I'm the chair of the Cultural Arts Commission. I work with the Simi Valley Ed Foundation, chairing their Teacher of the Month program. Okay, there's a few things I do as well. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we have 4 amazing, outstanding people, any one of which I believe could be a good mayor. There's no question. Say pick you, is that what you're saying? I'm sorry, I have to keep, we can't. I'm sorry, Robert, let me also digress for a minute too. We have two amazing people who have campaigned. I agreed, and let me speak to that, Robert. Robert Clarizio, let me speak to that because I have watched you, in fact. Robert, let me speak to it. I don't have that authority. That would have to come. Robert, I appreciate that. Robert, I want to commend you because you have run every 2 years for quite a few years. It is.
We can't have engagement back and forth, please. We are handling our discussion up here on the dais. Mr. Clarizzo, please. Thank you. Mr. Clarizzo, please. Thank you.
So I do want to speak to some outstanding candidates here. You have run wonderful campaigns and you have much to offer. So thank you. I'd love to come back, though, to what I was trying to share. Either we appoint from this group, or we basically have an application process and then we pick someone from the community, or we have an election. My sense, going back to what was just discussed, is that we have someone up here that could be a wonderful mayor, and it would be a temporary appointment. It is an interim mayor. I should say they fill the mayor until the next election. I shouldn't say it's a temporary appointment, but it's again, election occurs within 20 months, 22 months. So all that being said, I might add, all of us on this dais have also served as mayor pro tem, meaning we have all had the opportunity to basically be second in command and step in. And we understand that when mayor pro tem when we're serving as mayor pro tem, if the mayor is out of the area or unavailable, that we are stepping in as mayor. And so I share that all four of us have had that opportunity and know that responsibility. 2 or 3 meetings ago, we had the opportunity to appoint a new mayor pro tem. That mayor pro tem that we came to was Dee Dee Kavanaugh. And my sense is that because we made that choice then, I feel that we should continue in that vein. I feel like we already made initial suggestion, and personally, I feel that Dee Dee would serve well, and so I would like that to be my consideration, that I want her to know, even though I would like the council to know that that's the direction I would like to go, that I think that we should go forward with who we appointed as mayor pro tem, put her in the position of mayor, and then we'll have the discussion again then of who becomes the next mayor pro tem. Anyway, and I want to add one more thing too, and I'm sorry, I'll be done. There has been a bit of a rotation, and I believe technically I'm up for mayor pro tem next time. But that being said, I would welcome Mike being considered as the mayor pro tem currently if we appointed, because I understand full well his seniority on this group, and so would be happy to step back and let him sit in that position as well. But I just want to share that I am offering that suggestion that we go with Mayor Pro Tem Dee Dee Kavanaugh.
Thank you. Any other comments? Before I do? Okay, thank you.
So, excellent thoughts. I love hearing about myself. That's always. I think you're right. Any one of us would make an outstanding mayor. And yes, we've had some outstanding people run for mayor as well, and that is appreciated. While I appreciated your logic and thinking on the rotation of mayor pro tem, it was more of a next in line appointment, as it usually is. We have a sort of a understanding up here that we're not going to be mayor pro tem during our when we would be running, so that we don't run as mayor pro tem, and so 1 and 3 are up now, and 2 and 4 will be up after the next election for Mayor Pro Tem, and that's our sort of understanding rotation. It's not written down, but just gentleman's agreement, gentleperson's agreement. In addition to the thought I had before about being less disruptive to in the election cycles, that the next election up being 2 and 4 and the mayor, I would also like to point out a seniority thing and a unique set of circumstances now that we won't have probably in the future, and that is we have 2 people on the dais that have been elected at large by the whole city. Dee Dee, you were elected once at large and then ran by district, and Mike has won 3 times at large and then won by district. So if we were using the metric of voting and populace, it would be my opinion that more of the city has more of the city. The city has more often voted for Mike Judge and put confidence in him to be our senior council person up here, serving in his fourth term. So I am leaning towards having our senior council member and someone elected at large 3 times, also someone who will be up in the next election cycle anyway, who already had plans for this pathway to enter that pathway a little bit early, unfortunately, but I'm still leaning in that direction.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to take a few minutes then to speak. I was elected at large twice with the Park District also, so I have been elected multiple times citywide. I also have the skills necessary, I feel, to fill in for Fred. I have senior management experience of 15 years. I've done an additional 20 years as middle management. I've had oversight of $1.5 billion in assets over the last 15 years. I've managed up to 23 direct reports and over 100 individuals underneath that. 14 years of elected experience is kind of what I said. And I've been community focused over the past 35 years and have hit almost every area in the community: the Boys and Girls Club Board, Samaritan Center Board, Police Foundation Board, past president, Simi Valley Girls Softball, Rotary Club of Simi Valley, the first woman president, and I'm a 28-year member. Humanitarian of the Year, I was a business person of the year. I've been a Gold Coast Girl Scouts Woman of Distinction. I'm the past president of the EDC, and I'm the current vice chair of VCAS. I also feel that I am very respectful and treat everyone equally, whether they be the person on my left or the person on my right. I feel that I communicate well with others, both in writing and in person. And so I just feel that those are strong traits that we want to see in our mayor. And that's why I am putting my hat in the ring for that also. Some of the things change on voting. So, who knows who would vote for who today? But again, I was unopposed, so I'm assuming that I'm comfortable, that the city is comfortable with my decisions and how I've been running as a city council person. So those are my comments. Are we at a stalemate right now? We don't have to make a decision today. We currently do not. If we cannot appoint, we will go to special election. That's in November, correct?
It would depend on the time.
Right.
Yeah, 60 days.
Right, so just for clarification, the city council is required under the government code to attempt to make an appointment for a 60-day period. And if we have discussion and that's something that can't be done today, we can table it to the next meeting for continued discussion, or the meeting after that. And after we get to that 60-day period, if it can't work, or if there's not a decision to consider appointing from the public, then we would be required to go to the special election.
And that would be November, correct?
That is correct.
That's sorry, I missed the one step in there. So, which we all kind of know, and this is the first opportunity we've even had to discuss it, because the Brown Act, we can't talk with each other except up here. And so obviously you can tell we didn't talk with each other. So that's a good thing, right? And it's also been a very, very rough 10 days. We just lost, not even 10 days, less than that, less than a week that we just lost Fred. So maybe it's a good thing we aren't coming to a decision tonight. I mean, maybe we need a little bit more time, because right now it sounds like we're at a 2-2, and there's only 4 of us. So unless anyone has another subject they want to speak with. City Attorney?
So, yep, so, and
Go
I
ahead.
think Councilmember Lister might want to talk, but I just wanted to point out, so you've got a couple of options. There's a suggested motion that the city manager put together in your staff report. So either one, we can go with that, or two, like you said, so if it seems like there's going to be a sort of deadlock or whatever, somebody can make a motion to sort of continue it. That is an option for council.
So I would love to, I'd love to have just a discussion. Could we also, and I want to be clear too. And what's interesting is that I was blessed to come to this council initially as an appointment, which is different, I think, than anyone else here on the dais. I think all of you came, either you were elected elsewhere and then elected to this board, or elected directly. And so having been through that appointment process, I will say it is intensive, it's rigorous, it is one that is accessible to anyone that qualifies. If it were at large, it'd be the whole, or if it were for the district, it would be anybody, but you have to go through certain steps. Whomever, if we were to be able to appoint someone this evening, then basically I would be motioning or would suggest we go forward with appointing from that district, and basically go through an appointment process opposed to a special election process. I find it very interesting, I'm going to digress for a minute, that in 2019, the price to do an at-large election was just over $250,000. In 5 years, it's gone to $1.2 million. Now, we've had a change in who runs our county elections, but that's inflation of a huge, I don't know, I'm not going to do my math, but that's not just typical inflation. Clearly anyway, I think it's worthy of conversation to see really why there's been such an escalation in 5 years, because that just seems cost prohibitive. So, yeah, volunteers getting paid, whatever. So, but coming back to the matter at hand, now I realize I could make a motion. We could have a vote, it can go down, and so we could actually go, if we chose to go forward and do that, we could do that. I just want people to know that I am very firm in my belief that Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh would represent our city very well and represent all. And she has the background to be a wonderful leader. And I agree that Councilmember Judge could be a good leader too. And I will tell you, in 2 years, I would hope he would run for mayor and maybe be running against Dee Dee, or who knows what her plans are. But I think that knowing where she's been, what she's done, that this is the right time for her to serve. And I think it's the logical procession from where we've been. It would be the easiest way to go forward, and in no way does it preclude Councilmember Judge from being our mayor in 2 years. And I don't think, and I know he'd serve well as well. So I just want to go on the record to say that I think things aren't stopped that way. It just allows us to go forward. And so I would strongly encourage my counterparts to reconsider and think possibly whether they would be willing to make it a majority so that we go forward tonight.
Thank you. Councilmember Judge?
I move we appoint Dee Dee Kavanaugh as the mayor and move on with a criteria pick for the council member seat.
And I will second
I'll second that.
And I will say it shows what an outstanding, amazing man Councilmember Mike Judge is. And I want to go on the record that he loves the city and he wants what's good for the city.
Councilmember Rhodes? Oh, thank you. Call for the vote? I'm sorry.
I seconded it.
Call for the vote?
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Judge and Councilmember Rhodes and Councilmember Litzer. I want to tell you, no matter what had happened, we would have all walked off this dais and still been friends and had further discussion. That's what's really wonderful about this current council. And so anyone we select will have to fit in, okay? And be a nice person and good and be able to disagree and then still get along. So that says a lot about our council, and I'm so proud to be a member of this council, so thank you all.
The comment I was going to make prior to Councilmember Judge's announcement was sharing a conversation I had with our city attorney prior to the meeting, and it was, regardless of how we debate and discuss up here, and even if we ended up in a 2-2 split for some reason, we would eventually get to 4-0 because we have 4 smart people figuring out what the right answer is. And I'm very pleased that we were able to do that in a single setting.
I am too. That's why I'm very proud of this council. No matter what we do, we always come out ahead. So thank you. No, the motion did not include the next steps. So now we need to determine how we would like to fill. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Sorry. Thank you, Mike. Councilmember Judge.
And so just to be clear, that criteria is that then we would go forward with an appointment from District 1.
Correct.
Correct? Akin to what?
I think we need to update the criteria that's in the report. It was from 2018, I think, and we might want to review that.
Would you like staff to bring that back, or would you like to discuss it tonight?
What would you guys like to do?
I think we should discuss it tonight.
Okay, let's do that.
I feel like we need to go forward with this.
Let's get that on. So the current criteria on it is on page 2, filling council seats by appointment. In 2018, we established the fact that it had to be a Simi Valley resident. They must have been registered to vote in the 2018 general election. We might want to update that to 2022 or 2024. Variable current experience of minimum of 3 years with throughout the community, and it includes faith-based youth groups, sporting organizations. Do we want to leave that?
Absolutely.
Okay. The next item was applicant must submit an application package, which is standard for any appointments other than what we just did.
Although I think we should make because I think last time we made the little essay thing mandatory.
Okay.
I would say a decent resume and the essay would be optional.
Okay, I'm fine with that because some people would rather speak.
Yes.
So are you referring to the cover letter portion?
Is that what we did? Is that what we called it last time?
It was
I
a cover letter, yeah.
Yeah, because I just thought that was kind of tedious.
Okay. So cover letter would be optional. The nomination papers signed by no less than 20, no more than 30, which we all do when we're running for an election. They have to be registered.
And must be
voters.
from the district.
And from the district that they're running in. So they would have to be from District 1.
And I will say that my experience, I recall very vividly that there were several people who were disqualified because their signatures were not registered voters or from the city anyway. So I would counsel, I think it needs to be in there, but people should be cautioned.
Yes.
They need to verify that they truly are registered voters and in the district.
Yes, and their address, their current mailing address has to be within the district, and their signatures have to be clear, just like on any voting. I know there were a few people that did not make the qualifications for that. And you're required to have the 20, but you get the 30 just in case. I mean, that's just a safety measure. The Statement of Economic Interest, Form 700, which we all have to do annually anyway. The city's Code of Ethics, they would receive and read and have to sign. Cover letter we've discussed would be optional. the resume not to exceed 2 pages, and recognition of sequestration and non-use of technology. So what we do during an application process is all the applicants that are coming before the dais will be sequestered without access to the meeting. So they won't know what questions and what responses were given by the applicants before them.
Translation, their cell phone is taken away from them.
And they're put in a room. But it's just to make it fair for everybody. So they do that in court, just like with witnesses. You have to remain outside until it's your turn to testify. So it's very similar. They have to agree to do that. Last time we had 22 individuals and 17 packets returned. So that was a very good turnout. And that was citywide. Yes, that was before we went to district. So District 1, it's a big district, so I'm sure we'll get many qualified applicants if you're willing to do this. Any other questions, concerns, changes they want to make on the qualifications? No? No? All right. I think we've given instruction to staff to move forward with that.
Staff will work on that and get that updated and get that out to the community as soon as possible.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Kavanaugh and members, Mayor Kavanaugh and members of the City Council. Next on the agenda is item 10A, City Council member reports.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor. Since our last city council meeting, I got sick and laid flat on my back for a few days. That sucked. Then on Tuesday, January 21st, I woke up to a very sad phone call that I will remember for a very, very long time. Wednesday, January 22nd, I attended briefly the Chamber Legislative Affairs Zoom call where there was a moment of silence for Fred, and I thanked people for their thoughts and prayers. On Thursday, January 23rd, I had a trip to Sacramento. First item of business was for the League of California Cities Policy Committee. I'm on the Revenue and Taxation Policy Committee, and we met for 4 hours discussing recently passed legislation regarding taxes and some potential upcoming legislation, which we'll be keeping an eye on. I also had the opportunity to meet with some state senators lobbying for a proposition. And this is a personal note, but this trip, I don't hate going to Sacramento as much because my father lives in Roseville, and after the passing of Fred and the lesson learned that every moment is precious, my father will turn 100 on July 11th this year, and I sat in his office. Thank you.
7-Eleven?
7-Eleven. And I sat in his little study with him, listening to the same old stories, and I absorbed every single word of them and enjoyed every moment of them. And please do that with your loved ones. Also that day, I had a call with the CEO of the Clean Power Alliance discussing 2 topics. The first topic is going to be coming up at our next board meeting, which is a rate reduction from the Clean Power Alliance for the members of the Alliance, but any residents here, which is about 98% of us, are getting our power through Clean Power Alliance, and your rates will be going down at our next board meeting. And that's a preview. It will probably be reduced again somewhere around June. So that was good news. He also wanted to talk about a County of Ventura proposal brought forth by Supervisor Gorell to create a publicly owned utility in Ventura County and have our own electric company. And And he asked my opinion, and I thought, wow, that sounds expensive. But we had probably a half-hour discussion on what that would look like and what that would be. And so it'll be an interesting discussion at the county level to see what they're thinking. But I believe it passed with a 5-0 vote at the supervisor level to explore and look at this possibility. Returned from Sacramento, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Rhodes. Councilmember Lister.
Thank you. I'll start with 2 weeks ago, January 13, Councilmember Judge and I were in the Council on Aging, and you saw the outstanding appointments tonight. On the next day, January 14th, Tuesday, I met with our new community college representative, Joe Piechowski, and shared with him my thoughts on what I'd love to see happening at Moore Park College and things he could work and champion. I also went to training for the homeless point in time count, and it was very fascinating to learn just what data is gathered and how that all works. On Wednesday, January 15th, again, I joined Councilmember Judge in the swearing-in ceremony of our police officer, Bruno Arias. Welcome to the force. He'll be a good addition. On Thursday, January 16, I attended the VCOG Administration Committee meeting. What's interesting is, again, we're trying to hire a new executive director, and we discussed a little bit who are the selections or who has applied. I will say that the interviews for that position will be here in Simi Valley in our own council, not here in the chambers, but in our room backstairs, back way. Anyway, whatever we call that place. But it'll be found on February 18th. So it's nice that we are inviting all the cities to come to our to interview the candidates, and hopefully we'll pick the right person. January 17th, Friday, attended the Conejo-Simi Moore Park Association of Realtors, again with Councilmember Mike Judge. You and I were at lots of fun places, weren't we? What was interesting is that Brooke Grayson, who is from Simi Valley, was the outgoing president. She was honored. Also, Brian, what was his last name? From Simi Valley, Volunteer of the Year. I'm sorry. Anyway, so let me just say that there were some outstanding Simi Valley people were recognized with the Conejo-Simi Moore Park Association of Realtors. And yes, you're right. Monday, January 20th, of course, was Martin Luther King Day, and I'm sure everyone watched the proceedings of the presidential swearing in on Tuesday, January 21st. That was a rough morning. That is when we got the call at 5 a.m. that we had lost our mayor. And I think we all felt an obligation to maybe stand in for him in some way. And so, for instance, you might remember the last council meeting, you appointed me to go to the AWA meeting because Fred had conflicts. And so I thought, dang it, I need to be there for him. And so that morning, I went to my first AWA Water Issues Committee meeting, which was held in Camarillo, or in Oxnard, excuse me, and saw Fred's name on the letterhead and knew I was there for him. But I want to say that Wanda Moyer, who is here in the city, is the past chair, and she led the planning discussion for that group. And again, Simi Valley is well represented in that setting. On Wednesday, January 22nd, was the homeless count. I'm so glad it wasn't raining like it was this weekend. May I just say that? We were blessed. I had a tremendous opportunity in that I had the opportunity to actually go with Officer Scott Holty, who is the officer who is assigned to serving the homeless. And he's been doing this for 3 years. It was clear that he loves and has a heart for all of those who are homeless, knows them by name, knows their needs, knows what he can do to help, and I know his desire is to truly get them help so that they can be housed. But it was a delight to go with him and speak with many, I don't want to just misrepresent the number, but we did go into some of the outlying encampments where there are people who are together, and it was a humbling experience to have conversations with lots of good people who are in a difficult place in their life, but some of them are there
happy by choice. Some you can see need assistance because of being ravaged by drugs. Anyway, I just want to say I appreciate that there's caring people in our community, and we need to keep doing what we can. And I also want to commend Cynthia McCullough, who organized it for our city and put together the bags of items that we could take out to people. And anyway, it was, we will see what the final count is. I know when I spoke with her at the end of the afternoon, it was at maybe 126, but I'm sure there'll be more because it goes for the whole week. Anyway, that was quite an experience. Thursday, January the 23rd, attended the grand opening of First Light Home Care of Simi. They are a lovely organization that provide care for our seniors. And then attended the joint retirement party for Elaine Freeman and Kate O'Brien, and did so with Mayor Kavanaugh. And these are two outstanding women who've served for over 20 years each on the Rancho Simi Parks Board, and both are great leaders. And so it was a lovely evening. And I want you to know that I too needed to be in Sacramento on Friday, but I figured I could take a 6 a.m. flight because I didn't want to miss the party. And so the next day, I did catch that 6 a.m. flight out of LAX so I could attend my League of Cities assignment where I'm on the environmental committee. And I will tell you, one of the items that they were discussing, which I found interesting, was whether or not the League of Cities should support the Healthy Rivers and Landscape proposal, which basically means if we were to support that water, the Sacramento River and the San Joaquin rivers that kind of converge there in the Delta, there's some talk of basically restricting 55% of that flow being allowed to stay there to help the fish thrive and regain their habitat, which is a wonderful goal. However, the consequences would be akin to what the drought was in 2022 and what the Central Valley agriculture experienced anyway, of course, it would mean water shortages here, et cetera. So I'm pleased to say that we took a position of not taking a position, basically said, no, we're not in a position, particularly since the fires, to come to support this in any way right now. And so just wanted to report that no position was taken. It is an honor to serve with all four of you. Thank you, Mike, for being such a good man. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Judge?
Thank you, Mayor. On Tuesday, January 14th, I was at a C-level meeting, which is where you get the Chamber of Commerce and a city council representative, and I think one of our assistant city manager was with us, and another member of business in our city. We met with Freedom Designs, which is a very interesting shop over there on Madera that makes custom wheelchairs for young children, I mean, very young children that are suffering from serious disabilities. I didn't know this place existed in our city. This place is amazing. The stuff they make and the care and detail they put into it is above and beyond. These are all made in America, right here in Simi Valley. They do source out some parts, but they do all their construction and everything is done right here. And I tell you, this stuff is great. So I was very happy to see that. I always love it when I find out what is in that building. So that was a good thing. On Wednesday, January 15th, I attended the swearing-in ceremony for one of our new officers. Congratulations to him, and I hope he has a great career. On Thursday, January 16th, I attended the Economic Development Collaborative meeting down in Zachary Dunes in Ventura, and basically that's a group of folks from the county that get together and they talk about, giving more opportunity for businesses and stuff in our city. I believe our mayor is on that board, so she was with me there. It was very interesting, along with almost our entire city management staff, which was cool. On January 17th, I attended, as was said, the Caneo Simi Moore Park Association of Realtors for their award and installation luncheon. And from Saturday until Saturday, so for the week, I was at a large convention with 20,000 of my closest friends in Las Vegas. So it was a very interesting week. That's my report.
Thank you. On Thursday, January 16th, I with Councilmember Judge, attended the EDC annual meeting, and you are being very politically correct in saying it was a good time. The panel discussion was a little dry if you weren't really interested quite in it. So, but it was a good event. A lot of county people were there. They were doing a presentation on the upskilling program that we've been doing throughout the county. It's where you have employees that may not be able to keep their jobs because they don't have the technical skills. Just starting out with a computer, how to turn a computer on, how to use a mouse. So they have classes that start there, and then there's 2 different levels. So it's been a very, very good program, and it's really created a lot of new opportunity for a lot of our county members. I missed the luncheon on Friday, January 17th. Again, on Tuesday, January 21st, we all received a call we never want to receive from the chief, and it was very, very sad. It was very unexpected. And then I came into the city and met with City Manager Argabright, and she called a meeting with all the department heads, and we notified them. And I think that was one of the hardest things I've done in my life is trying to talk and let them know what was going on. So, but they're all appreciative of everything that Fred did for them, and I know they will do their best in his memory to keep moving on. On Wednesday, January 27th, the Rancho Simi Recreation Park District asked me if I wanted to come and lead their flag salute for their meeting in honor and memory of Fred. So that was very nice. Chair Abele said a few nice words, and then we had a moment of silence. So it was very honoring, and I was proud to be there. On Thursday, January 23rd, in place of the mayor, I attended an event at Sinaloa. I'm an alumni, so that was kind of cool. Sinaloa Middle School. The Reagan Library is partnering with them to do leadership and communication. They have received funding to make these 3 rooms into, one is an editing room. Michelle was there with me. One is an editing room where the students are actually going to use the cameras and do the editing. One is a room where they're teaching, and they have a green wall, so they'll be able to use like a green room. And then they have a room where they can do presentations. The equipment in there was all paid for by the Reagan Foundation, the Reagan Library Foundation. They are very, very ecstatic about it. It's going to be a great program for Sinaloa. What I thought we might want to do is, because Royal has a civics thing with the Reagan Library also, we could maybe have the school do a presentation on us at some meeting. I think that would be interesting for the public to see what those 2 things are doing. Mr. Dennert, Mr. Dempsey at Royal, and then the new program at Sinaloa, to show what the foundation's doing for our community and our students. That same night, I also attended the retirement for Elaine Freeman and Kate O'Brien. We always joke about the 2 Elaines. So Elaine Freeman and Kate. I did serve on the park board with both of those wonderful ladies. I was sorry to see them go, but just very happy for their retirement and thankful for everything they did for the park district. Elaine Freeman and Steve Soika, I believe, were the main go-betweens for the Arroyo, for our Arroyo Greenway. So that was something to be extremely proud of. On Friday, January 24th, I attended the city committee selection of the mayors from the county, again, filling in for Fred. And it's where we select the different people to serve on different county committees. Councilmember Rhodes was applying for one position. Unfortunately, I didn't speak enough about him for him to get the position, but he did well. But you scored very well on it. But hopefully next presentation, it was his first time applying for one of those. So next time, I'm sure we'll get it. We'll get it through. And then on Saturday, January 25th, I attended the SVPD fundraiser for Baker to Vegas. It was at Cronies. It was a very good time. The funny part is I did Baker to Vegas 30 years ago with my sister with the sheriff's department. So I was wearing my jacket. It didn't fit right. And I didn't realize how bad it looked until I got home, and I went, oh my gosh. But they had a great fundraiser. It was crowded. Everyone was having a great time, and hopefully they raised enough money for the BDV race. And I think that's the end of my reports. It was a very busy week for all of us, and it was very emotional for all of us. And luckily, we all got through it. We all have each other to lean on, especially in the community, the same thing. So thank you for listening to my report. So next item is 10A. Oh, no, we did our 10A. Now I ask for, we did our reports from the city council. Sorry, I'm still brand new. I have to look at the red ink. 10B, city council board membership, special district. Are there any requests for future city council agenda items? Seeing none, thank you. This is the hardest part, so we will be adjourning tonight's in memory of Mayor Fred D. Thomas. So thank you.